My real qualities lay in teaching other people to do things, and that I got pleasure out of instructing. And so I went to university and got the necessary credits and came back out into teaching and was to be the Florence Nightingale of the teaching world, and discovered that the world was not ready for me, that I hit a high school. I taught it several part-time and then one full-time, and was constantly at odds with my principal, my department head, who reminded me that I should be teaching from the book, that I shouldn't engage students in discussion on things that weren't written on page 74, and that my lesson plan should be adhered to, and I was hostile. Many of the books were so out of date as to be embarrassing, and I couldn't bring myself to teach students things that they would never use. So I went to his office one day, and we had our last argument, and he said, if you continue this practice, we're going to have some problems. And I said, well, you'll have no problems at all, because I won't be coming back. And that was a dangerous thing to say. It was at a time when teachers were losing jobs, and where teaching jobs were scarce. And I stopped out of his office in a fit of anger and stomped down the hall with my eyes full of tears, I'm sure, and said, I'll start my own damn school. And so I started my own damn school.
I learned that I am what I am. The way I stand is the way I stand. The way I talk, and the way I think, and the way I behave, and the way I am with people, because of the way I think. I can change my body language for you, and I can look apologetic, and I can look cocky and stubborn, and I can shut you out. There's no way I can disguise for you what's going on in my head, no matter how much I try, because every one of us is a feeling individual, and every one of us has inside us a voice. What goes around, comes around. When you give out garbage, you get garbage back. When you give out goodness and love, you get all that back too. I see this business of giving and loving like a great bank account. For me to borrow, I have to have something in there. Don't give people permission to be rude to you, even clients. But that doesn't mean fighting with them, taking over, feeling superior. It means just understanding that if you don't deserve it, it doesn't need to happen. There's always a way to negotiate. Sometimes it seems that no matter how we try, nothing works. It's not called giving up, it's called moving on. If it's meant to be, it will come along. If it's not meant to be, get the message. When you can't decide what's right or wrong, and you've gone over it in your head, and you've gone over it on paper, and you still can't make a decision, there's another place to go for the information. If you can't listen to your head, listen to your heart. And I believe we all know all things, that all information is stored in there. It's just waiting to come out, but it doesn't come out in a noisy head. It comes out through quiet and meditation and tranquility and peaceful moments. You don't have to fly south to get it. You can get it in the front seat of your car, in traffic, waiting for the light to change. Sometimes the only place I can get to be alone is put the cover down the toilet seat and lock the door in the ladies' room at Eaton's. And if that's where I am when I need it, that's where I go. Just a little space alone to have alone in my head. And that's how prayer works. How do I keep fit spiritually? Maybe there's no difference between mind and spirit. There are a lot of people trying to sort that one out. I pick my friends. Friends and acquaintances aren't the same people. There are people you know and people you love. I want friends, and I want to be loved. So do you, I'll bet. What's loneliness? Well, it can be an opportunity, or it can be a devastation. I see it as an opportunity. Every time I feel lonely, I translate that into time for me. What can I do with it? What are all the things that I never have time for? Now I use my time for this. Now I'm no longer alone. But we're never alone anyway, of course, because your best friend is your head. And you can't be bored unless you're boring. I would wake up in the middle of the night with the school running through my head, and I started, just as a child does, picturing the thing you'll get from Santa Claus. I started picturing a classroom. And then I started seeing people in it.
How do you feel in the mood?
And then I heard myself teaching a class. Everything started to form in my head like a dream. And so I kept a notepad by my bed and started writing everything down. And so it really became a reality to me when I started seeing the stacks of paper growing. And then I started thinking in terms of prices, what it would cost, what I could charge. So it grew from a little typing room in my basement into the big thing that it became. I learned a long time ago from myself that I'm productive when I'm happy. And I determined the things that made me miserable and set about eliminating them. And when I discovered how productive I am when my life is in order, and how creative I am and how intelligent I am, then I knew this could happen for everyone. And so we pay a lot of attention to what goes on with them. And it would seem to me that everybody in the whole world has the same need, same desires, the same fears.